What is life's biggest trap people fall into? Sunk cost fallacy. Just because you've spent a certain amount of time or energy or money on something doesn't mean you need to stick with it forever. If you're really unhappy in a relationship, don't stay in it just because you've spent the last 10 years with that person. If you're miserable at work and there's no happiness in sight, don't stay just because you put too much time and energy into it. I know a couple of people in debt because they have this mentality when it comes to gambling. If they lose $1,000, they'll gamble another $1,000 to try to win it back since they feel they've invested so much already. Of course, they lose again and feel compelled to gamble another $2,000 to break even. At some point, you just gotta count your losses and move on. Every relationship I've ever been in, I've realized I'm doing this. Just too much of a coward to initiate something as hurtful as a breakup. I don't know if that's the biggest trap, but definitely procrastination is a massive one. Yeah, a lot of people think it's funny or joke about being procrastinators, usually along with stories of clutch, last minute scrambles that somehow work. I'm one of those people. Even if those stories are fun, there's a less fun side to procrastination. It's when there are no deadlines, no due dates, but you tell yourself that you'll do it tomorrow, every day, that you'll learn a language, talk to your parents, get a degree, whatever. Then one day, for whatever reason, it's too late and you just feel regret. Don't procrastinate, it'll catch up with you eventually. This is a sad and scary realization that I had several years ago. I still find myself procrastinating, even though I know damned well that at any moment, I could be stripped of another chance to live my life the way I envision. Every day, time ticks by. Years seem shorter and shorter. I'll quit smoking as soon as I finish this pack. I will go to the gym tomorrow. I will call tomorrow about that awesome job opportunity that practically fell into my lap. Next time I talk to him, I'll tell him how I really feel. Hell, maybe next week, I'll even get my house clean. Do not become like me. Do not talk yourself out of what you want, or let fear of the unknown / failure steer you. Just *UCKING do it. Cultural / social pressure to get married before you're ready to be married. I have two groups of friends who married in their early 20s. One group dated for 3 to 4 years after high school and realized they had already built the foundations of their lives together, so they got married after college. They have a home, a child, and a goofy ass cat. The other group dated for a year or two after high school and got pregnant by accident. Family pressure, religious pressure, and societal pressure made them cave and get married when they were about 22 or 23 years old. They divorced before the child was born. They absolutely hate each other. They blame each other for ruining the other's life, and their child is stuck in the middle of it. Thank God I'm part of the first group. Sales. Just because something is on sale doesn't mean you're saving money, especially if you wouldn't have bought it otherwise. Think of it not as saving 50%, but spending 50%. For example, just the other day this guy came into our store with a coupon we gave customers that gives you $5 off for every $40 spent. What he was originally getting came out to $15, but he really wanted to use that coupon, so he grabbed some other stuff that brought him up to $52, which then was cut down to $47 after scanning the coupon. Thankfully for him, he saw how much he'd be spending and decided to put the extra stuff back. I even told him he'd be saving a lot more if he just didn't bother with it. You're like a retail superhero. Don't know if this counts as a trap, but having the mindset ingrained into you, starting from childhood, that you have to be friends with everyone you meet. I try to be friends with everyone, but after a while of getting to know them, I decide they're not really the kind of people I want as a friend. A lot of people confuse the word friend with acquaintance or colleague or person I hang out with sometimes. Then they are heartbroken to find that their friend abandons them when they are needed. I remember reading an article a couple of years ago about how the word acquaintance was on the way out, and the word friend had been steadily replacing it, which required a new phrase for what we consider a friend, since friend got downgraded to the level of an acquaintance. So people started using best friend to indicate an actual friendship with someone, because if everyone's a friend, how do you tell people you're actual friends with someone? Anything they do because they are supposed to. No, you don't have to get married. No, you don't have to have kids. No, you don't have to have all the newest everything to keep up with the Jones. People need to figure out what they want out of life and go for it. Don't do it because you're supposed to. I remember I had this huge epiphany when I met my high school biology teacher. Her intro on the first day was, "Hi, I'm Mrs. Blank. Yes, I'm married to Mr. Blank. Taught at the same school. We have lovely animals at home, and we chose not to have any children." Me, wait, you don't have to have kids. Huh, I well no you don't, but you should take the time to think about it before making a decision like that. It was like the dawning of a new era for me. I went home and exclaimed to my mom, "I'm never having kids. Ever." Thinking that you have to achieve everything and that life is about constantly progressing. Sometimes it's nice just to maintain status quo for a bit. Interesting, because I was going to say that stagnating in life is a trap. Both are a trap. Allowing yourself to not go forward to where you want to be in life is a trap. Being pressured out of where you are comfortable with your life is also a trap. You are both correct. Failing to move beyond your past. I've seen this everywhere I go, and certainly in my extended family over the years. Basically, depending on who you are, but for many of us, life punches you in the mouth. Past issues and injustice like the shortcomings of one's parents, growing up poor, failed marriages, or even feeling like you failed your own children are examples of what can keep people completely stuck in their tracks if they cannot let go of the pain. My uncles and aunts who are addicts, poor, alone, etc. all share one thing: the inability to reconcile problems from their past, stemming mostly from fractured relationships with their parents and severe poverty in their case. My cousins who have the same issues, 2 out of 3 were born with learning disabilities and never moved beyond the feeling that they were dumb and didn't belong in a classroom. Neither graduated high school. Many of us have been hurt, born into bad situations, whatever. One characteristic that makes some people more successful than others in this situation is the ability to let go of their pain. If you won't do it, you cannot find the inspiration and drive you'll need to achieve personal success. I feel like people rush into marriage and kids because society tells you that that's the natural course your life must take. And then people end up with a mortgage and kids and feel miserable. I pretty much decided that I'm 27, I don't want kids, and if I get married at some point, great. But it really removed a lot of stress from my life. I can focus on things I actually want to do now. Someone else said this: I have never been pressured to have kids. Maybe people just don't think I should reproduce. I don't know if it's the biggest, but alcohol is a pretty big one. I pried myself free of that trap recently. Wasted more than a decade to it. I'm 34 now, and I feel like I'm starting my life over again right before the alcohol took over. I'm a 34-year man that feels like I haven't developed personally or professionally since I was 22. That realization has caused my life to take a hard right turn into adulthood. I will be in a much better place before I'm 40 because I gave up alcohol. I don't mean to ask anything inappropriate, but how much were you drinking before you stopped? Do you think a few drinks a week are alright? If you're drinking in your leisure time, because that's what you want to do, that's fine. If you're drinking at times that it interferes with other areas of your life, financially, professionally, personally, your health, it's a problem. Edit. Even in leisure time, in moderation. College. It's really not for everybody. If it's not, then why go into so much debt? This whole situation largely happened because people saw that if you got a degree, you were pretty much guaranteed a good job. But they failed to understand why that was true at the time, and instead came to the naive conclusion that if everyone got a degree then everyone would have a better job. But college degrees netted better jobs, in part because they were relatively rare, and in part because the better jobs that were available really did benefit from / need more education from those that filled them. Sending ever increasing numbers of people to college without a clear career desire to fit a degree destroys both of those things. There are also problems with inflated requirements and a loss of respect for people in low education jobs that are still an honest day's work.